It's Ash from SuperVideos back for another live stream Q&A. This is going to be Q&A number 163. So as always, we'll go through the questions. I do have one thing I do want to say. If you go to the community section of the channel, I'll leave a link in the chat right here. There is, I think like the third one is a poll. Do me a favor and go out, fill out that poll and let me know what you guys want in terms of Stranger Things is concerned, because season 3 started like a couple days ago, or they released it on Netflix. So I just want to see how many of you want me to do a review, do a reaction, or nothing at all. So if you don't vote, that means you don't want any of it. So based on how many votes I get, how many people are interested, and when I see that there's enough demand, I might do some Stranger Things videos like reactions and reviews. But if you haven't already filled out the poll, go and check it out and fill it out. But with that announcement out of the way right away, let's jump into the questions. Ronnie Thomas, hi Ash, hi, how are you? Ronnie, glad you could join. Ronnie Thomas, do you think we'll see a season 6 of Fear the Walking Dead? I think so. At this point, I think we are, unless we see something in San Diego Comic-Con that tells us otherwise. But I think at this point, yeah, we're probably going to see a season 6. That doesn't mean that we're going to see a good season 6. That depends on how season 5 goes. But as far as a season 6, I think we will see a season 6. Ronnie Thomas, Ash, or also, do you think The Walking Dead will last at least 12 seasons, or season 12? I think for The Walking Dead, they have more room to give us more stuff. Even if there is no comics, they will be able to come up with stories and, you know, remix stories and give it to us. So I think we will go at least till season 12, yes. After that, it's a big question mark, but at this point, if we think about season 10 being the Whisper War and the introduction of the Commonwealth, season 11, if they do the Commonwealth, if they completely do, you know, remove that and put it in the movies, then that's going to be different. But if they do Commonwealth, a version of Commonwealth, then season 11 will focus on that. First half, most likely. Second half will be when we're going to get closer and closer to where we are in the comics right now. So I think if they're going to end it, they might end it at season 12 or season 11 or season 12. But like I said, they do have the chance to give us, give us, what do you call it? Stories that are, or give us something that's not in the comics. So they can do that at that point. But I think we will see at least 12 seasons. Or 11 seasons, if we were trying to be really, really specific with it. Ronnie Thomas, how do you think season 10's trailer will play out? What do you think we'll see? I think at the start, we're going to see something along the lines of the threat of the Whisperers coming up again. And them not being as safe as they think. And maybe even throughout that, some hints about maybe, what do you call it? Whispers or people who look like Whisperers coming to their territory and something like that. So I think we will see something along those lines. And by the end of it, we will be very clear that the Whisperers are in fact still a threat. In the trailer, I think we might see even some things about Michonne and Rick. Like Michonne, not them revealing that Michonne finds out about Rick, but something along the lines of a mystery that Michonne might know what's up. Something like that. And they might even tease a little bit about the Commonwealth in the trailer. Ronnie Thomas, how do you think the Walking Dead comics would have changed if Daryl and Merle were in the story and survived to the Commonwealth? Comics? Well, none of them were in the comics, but if they were in the comics, I think it's difficult to say because we don't know what type of character they would have been. No character is the exact same going from the TV show version to the comic version. So imagine taking a character that's not even in the comics and trying to figure out what they would do in a comic situation. So it's something that it's extremely difficult to predict or to think about. But I think if they had similar characteristics, none of them would have trusted or actually earlier on, let's look at earlier on. Earlier on, none of them would have been accepting of the Commonwealth and they would have not trusted them. But after, let's say if Daryl at this point got to the Commonwealth in the comics, he would have gave it a shot, but he would have not given it his all. You know what I mean? He would have left some sort of open room for him to be able to get out. So he would trust them, but he would leave the door open to be able to get out and to be able to distance himself from that community as soon as possible. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. Ronnie Thomas, do you think the comics might come back if another writer wants to continue the story? I don't think so. I think if anyone's going to continue it, it's got to be Kirkman. I don't think anyone else is going to come back and continue the story. I don't think they would necessarily want to do that because of a lot of reasons, a lot of different reasons. But I think as far as Kirkman is concerned, he might come back and do shorter stories, shorter mini arcs, maybe even telling us stories that we missed, that he kind of skipped. He doesn't need to be committed to it for like 200 issues. It could be like a 10-issue arc where he just tells us a snippet of the story. But any other writer, I don't think so. Kevin Leal, I think Season 5 of Fear is very good. I think it's okay. I wouldn't go as far as saying it's really good. It's okay. It's not bad, of course, but it's still not where it needs to be. At this stage in the game, Fear the Walking Dead 5 seasons in, we expect a lot more. Ronnie Thomas, how do you think the helicopter people are important? I think, just like Isabel said, they are part of a much bigger purpose. And they're not just living for survival of, the moment, surviving the moment. They're there for the long run. And they have a system going on where they're trying to pave the road for future generations. So I think that's what their importance is. Kevin Leal, do you think Dwight will find that his wife is alive? I think that's what you mean, that his wife. But I think you mean that his wife is alive. They might reveal that in Fear the Walking Dead. Yeah, of course. If they don't, then it'll kind of be pointless for Dwight to even show up. So there's got to be something with Sherry. Either she shows up or she finds out that she's dead. Or he finds out that she's dead. Ronnie Thomas, do you think we could see an even bigger community, much bigger than Commonwealth in the TV show? I've said this before. I think that CRM is the TV show version of Commonwealth. Not saying they're not going to do Commonwealth. They're going to do Commonwealth, but it's going to be extremely different. It's going to be much smaller. The stories are not going to be the exact same. They're going to be mostly replaced and given to the movies or pushed to the movies. But I think, yes, in the TV show, we will see a much bigger community than the Commonwealth. And not just one community. I strongly believe we're going to see a network of communities that are working together. Now, what else was I going to say? Yeah, I was going to say something else, but I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, I think Commonwealth is either going to be completely removed from the comics or the TV show when it comes to the comic stuff, or it's going to be remixed heavily, and most of it is going to be pushed to the TV show. Oh, movies, to the movies, sorry. Ronnie Thomas, if Dwight comes back with Sherry to Alexandria, do you think Daryl will accept him, or will he tell him to go? I think enough time has passed for Dwight and Daryl to have forgotten about the past. You know, they're gonna let bygones be bygones by that point in time. Even if Sherry doesn't show up, I think Daryl will still not accept Dwight right away, but he would give him the opportunity or the chance to integrate back into their communities. Ronnie Thomas, how would Daryl die for a death worthy for him? It's a great question. I think nothing too cliche like blowing up a bridge, like Rick. Well, he didn't really die, but you know what I mean. But I would say that's a good question. I would have to think about this. I might do like a standalone video on a worthy death for Daryl. At this point, I can't really think of anything, but I might do a standalone video on that. But that's a very good question. Mario, what up, squad? What's up, Mario? Glad you could join. Ronnie Thomas, imagine they said season 10 is the last. I would be pissed off. No, it wouldn't be the last. If it was the last, they would have told us already. They wouldn't just leave it till the last minute, like the comics. I don't think they will. They would have told us early, like they did with Rick. They told us early about that. Even Michonne. So I don't think they're going to risk it like that and not tell us until the season starts. But also at the same time, I think there's more than enough stories to push us to season 12. So season 10, I think we still have a couple seasons left. Kevin Leal, do you think Daniel knew Abraham? I've seen that theory around, but I can't picture it because the timeline of it doesn't make sense. Because when would they have met? You know? Why didn't Daniel bring it up before? Why did he bring it up all of a sudden? So I think it's a stretch at this point. It's a big stretch. Yes, the cigar that Daniel talked about that they showed in a couple episodes ago could have been an Abraham reference. Does it mean that Abraham and Daniel knew each other? Maybe, maybe not. But it was definitely an Easter egg. If anything, it was a big Easter egg for Abraham. Not saying that it was Daniel or revealing that Daniel knew Abraham, but it was just an Easter egg. Not sure what they're going to do with that story and what that means and what they were referring to, but it's an Easter egg, more or less. Mario, or have you read any comment on your movie prediction video? What do you think of these? There wasn't a lot of comments last time I checked on the movie prediction. There was like maybe one. Let me double check just to make sure. Yeah, there was only one comment on there. But let me see what it said. I forgot completely. Yeah, the one comment came from you. And yeah, I agree with you on that. And let me see, first half. Yeah, the first, I think not just the first, but the entire 3 movies have something to do with the CRM. And I'm just reading your comments and basically commenting on it. But yeah, I think all of the 3 movies are gonna focus on Rick and the CRM. Yeah, there's only 3 characters that could make their way into the movie. That would make sense. Althea, Michonne, and Heath, I think. Heath will show up, but Morgan, you say? I don't think Morgan is gonna go. You mentioned Morgan. I don't think Morgan is gonna go into the movies. But I could see Althea and Michonne both going. And obviously other characters showing up, like Madison, maybe. Heath, I think that it's a very, very high likelihood of him appearing in the movies. And then third, you say Gimple, confirmed already. There's 3 movies. Rick will survive all. He'll survive all, but we don't know what's going to happen to him at the end of them. So, yes, he will survive all, but we don't know what's going to happen to him at the end of the day. Let me just get back to what I was doing here. My screens are, or my tabs are all messed up, so I'm just trying to find where I was. There we go. All right, so we are back here now. So I read that one. Ronnie Thomas, how do you think if Michonne dies, how would she die? They're not killing off Michonne. They're not killing her off. It would be super odd for them to kill Michonne at this point. If they kill her off, then it would need to be a big death, like what they kind of planned for Rick. I don't want it to be as cliche, but something big, something massive. Kevin Leal, I hope we get a backstory about the kids group in Fear. I don't really care much about their stories because I feel like it's just a repetitive story because they already did something like that in The Walking Dead. So, yes, it would be interesting, but not like a full backstory. Maybe learn a little bit about them through dialogue or flashbacks, but not an entire episode of their backstory. I would not like that. Critical King Ken 214, not exactly, Ash. They waited a couple days to tell us that the comics is ending. They did wait 2 days before. That's still very, very last minute. But for Rick, they told us way beforehand. And even Michonne, they told us like a year before, by the looks of it. So, I think in the comics, it was still very, very last minute. Yes, a couple days. But that's still very last minute when it comes to the Walking Dead comics ending. Critical King 10 to 14. Plus, they could end it because a lot of the main actors are leaving. They could end it, but I think they're going to push it for longer. I think at this point, it doesn't make sense for them to end it because Season 9 was good. So I don't see a reason why they would just completely end the show right now. They could, but I hope not, and I don't think they are going to. Ronnie Thomas, if Rosita survived Season 10, I'm still hoping her and Daryl will be in a couple. I don't see that. Honestly, I don't see them being a couple at all. There's no setup for it. There's no chemistry between them. Ronnie Thomas, but they said Negan survived. How much did he change? Because Robert told us that if we saw Negan again, he will not be the Negan we knew. I don't know what they're going to do with Negan. Of course, the comics ended, so if anything, they might do, like I said before, mini arcs. Maybe 10, 15, 20 issues of just telling us a snippet of the story that they skipped. If they do that, they might bring Negan back that way. But I don't think he's really changed in a way where he's a completely different person. He's still the same Negan. He's just not a bad person anymore. He's not gonna do anything that's for his self-interest. He's going to be a more team player. He's gonna be a more he's able to sacrifice more, and it's not the survival of the fittest for him anymore. I think that's all that means, that he's changed. But he's still gonna crack jokes. He's gonna be the same type of Negan, but he's just not gonna be as cruel as he was. Kevin Leal, if we get Fear Season 6, do you think Madison will be back? If they decide to bring Madison back, they could bring her back anytime. So Season 5, rest of Season 5, Season 6, and so on. But I don't think they're going to bring her back. They have shown no interest in doing that. Mario, a very true Gimple, could just kill him in the last movie, but The Walking Dead started with Morgan and Rick. It would be a shame that they never see each other again. It would be a big shame. But at the same time, like I said in my prediction for the movie, at the end, they're going to have to either make or have Rick come back, or they're going to have to kill him off. It can't go any other way. He can't stay at that community, because if he does, then they're going to have to do more movies, you know? Because they're going to have to explain or wrap it up somehow. So either Rick comes back or he dies. I don't see an in-between there. Ronnie Thomas, do you think Carol will last before they kill her? Or how do you think Carol will last before they kill her? I don't think Carol is dying anytime soon. I think one of the safest characters on The Walking Dead right now are Carol, Daryl, and Michonne. These three. And Negan as well. Critical King Ken 214, the thing I hate the most about the comics ending, we don't get any information about Magna or the others. Actually, we haven't seen Magna since Andrew died and Negan, Eugene, Alexandria, Hilltop. Yeah, they skipped a lot of stories for sure in the comics. And it's just a shame because most of those stories were very interesting. But, and what I mean by that, how did Maggie become president? What happened to Negan? How did they make their communities as safe as it was? How did they expand? What else? What else could we say? What happened to Magnus Group? Things like that. So there's a lot of stories that are interesting that they skipped. And it's a shame that, in a way, it seems like Robert Kirkman just got bored. And he wanted to end on a high note before the stories were just bland. So he's like, I'll just skip time. Give this crazy, absolutely, what do you call it? Perfect in a way ending because I want to go out on a high note. That's what it seemed like. It seemed like he didn't want to ruin the story anymore, so he just ended it. In a way, it's good. Absolutely love that he didn't keep going and mess up the story or ruin the story even more, because the last arc with the Commonwealth was very disappointing, even the Whisperer's War. But I think, so in a way it's great, but in a way there's a lot of stories that he skipped that we would have loved to read about. But again, he could, later on in the future, he could give us these snippets of stories in smaller chunks. Critical King 10 to 14 and The Kingdom we haven't seen since The Kingdom before the Whisperer's War. This is the most disappointing Walking Dead ending there could ever be, in my opinion. I disagree with you on that. I think he gave us a solid ending. He did have a lot of open stories out there, or things that he didn't completely close off, but at the same time, like I said, he just wanted to end on a high note, and he didn't want to keep going and have the popularity decline even further. So you could look at it both ways. Yes, we missed a lot of great story, but the good thing about that is we might get those in the future as smaller chunks. The other part of it is it's good because he didn't, or it went on a high note. It went out on a high note. Critical King Can 214, not Andrea. Yeah, I got that. I understood what you meant. Kevin Leo, since Rosita didn't die in season 9, do you think she will have a big death in season 10? Well, not big as in like the biggest death ever in season 10, but I think it'll be one of the highlights or lowlights, however you want to look at it, of season 10, with death, or as far as deaths are concerned. It'll be one of the bigger deaths in season 10. That's what I'm trying to get at. Mario, if they keep Fear till last Rick movie, they could easily merge Morgan into CRM community without problem, just for Rick goodbye, but this is a long time from now. Yeah, it's a long time from now till we get there. And we don't even know how the timeline is going to fit. We don't know how long the 3 movies are going to be in terms of the timeline of the Walking Dead universe. Mario, in my opinion, Althea could easily exit to the movies in season 5 finale, keep Morgan till 3rd movie, and Michonne exit must be a big setup before she leaves. Yeah, I did a video where I talked about the possibility of Althea crossing over and how that might help with the Michonne send-off story or her leaving story. I have a feeling that might be where they're going with it, but I'm not 100% confident with my theory or my prediction. I'm around like a 70 or an 80% confident with my theory. But if you haven't seen that already, go check it out and let me know your thoughts and opinions on that theory. I'm going to leave a link again to the poll. If you go to the community section of the channel, like the third comment in from the top, or the third post, you should see a poll about Stranger Things. Make sure to go and participate in the poll and let me know if you want to see anything with Stranger Things, reactions, reviews. I have to get enough demand to do Stranger Things videos because I don't want to do a video and not have a lot of demand for it. So make sure to go and participate. Let me know if you want me to do reactions, reviews, or whatnot for Stranger Things. I'm waiting for this poll before I start watching because I don't want to watch and then realize that I could have done a reaction to it, and I just don't want to do a reaction if I'm not going to post it. It doesn't make sense. So I'll wait till the end of this week to see how many participants we're going to get and how many people are going to be interested. Like I said in my poll, I'm going to need to get like at least 20 people interested in at least one of those reactions or reviews or both for me to consider doing those videos for Stranger Things. So I'll give it till this Friday. So go make sure to go and participate and make sure to spread the word to everyone on the channel, to all SuperVids fam, everyone in the SuperVids family, so that they know about the poll and they participate. Friday, if I don't get the participants or the poll results that I'm looking for, then I'm just going to watch the episodes. So that means that we're not going to get any reactions. That's what that means. Reviews we might still do based on what the poll is going to look like afterwards, but we're not going to do any reactions if there's no if there isn't at least 20 people interested in reactions by the end of this week. So make sure to go and participate. All right, back to the questions. Critical King Ken 214. I think Rosita is safe until she gives birth, at least because AMC does not like killing babies or very young kids. I wouldn't necessarily say it's as black as white as that. Like, they don't want to do it. They do try to avoid it as much as they can. But when it comes to Rosita, I think, yes, that is a factor that she has a baby, but that doesn't mean that doesn't make her automatically safe, I don't think. Critical King Ken 214. Yes, Stranger Things is the best rated on Netflix. Yes, it is. I'm very excited for season 3 to see what they're gonna do. In a way, I feel like it's been a long time since I watched season 2, so I might have to catch up a little bit as well. Just go back and watch the last episode of season 2 or something. But yeah, if we get enough people that are interested, I will definitely do reactions. But again, make sure to go and participate. All right, we are 30 minutes in. We'll go for another 5 minutes worth of questions, and that'll be the end of the stream. Mario, yes, that makes sense. CRM Community is first group organization to appear in all the Walking Dead shows. Maybe we will have characters that could link them. Althea, maybe. She's all about story, about everything. Absolutely. And that touches exactly on what I talked about on my theory about whether Althea is going to cross over and how that's going to help with the Michonne leaving story. So that definitely makes sense to me, and I'm confident more or less in that theory right now. Critical King Ken 214. Have you watched season 1 and 2 of Stranger Things? Yes, but I feel like it's been too long, so I'm gonna have to watch again the last few episodes or something just to catch up, to remember what happened. But I have seen the first 2 seasons. I enjoyed season 1 a lot more than season 2 though. All right, so we'll go for like maybe a couple more minutes here, and that'll be the end of the stream. Mario, it makes sense to me also, but in order to, or for that to happen, we need time skip. Maybe Althea appears in The Walking Dead also and finds Michonne. Yeah, we're definitely going to see a time skip. We're going to have to see a time skip. Not in Fear, necessarily, but, or not even that. Like, the time skip can be explained outside of the story. Althea could leave in Fear, and in The Walking Dead, they could give us the time skip and tell us how Althea showed up. Much like what they did with Morgan. The exact same thing. Actually, let me see. Would the timeline make sense that way, though? Because The Walking Dead is ahead. Yeah, it would make sense. That's why it makes sense, because it's ahead. Okay. Yeah, it would make sense for sure. I just thought that it was the other way around, and I'm like, wait, that doesn't make sense. But no, it does, because Fear is, or The Walking Dead is ahead in timeline. So, however far they go in season 5, when Althea leaves, or if she leaves, there will still be a gap between that time and where we are going to be in season 10 of The Walking Dead. Alright, that's it for this live stream Q&A. Thanks everyone for joining and asking questions and supporting the channel. I appreciate it. If you haven't already participated in the poll, make sure to go and participate. I'll leave the link out again. Make sure to go and participate in the poll and let me know what type of video you're interested in for Stranger Things, whether you want to see a reaction, review, or both. But with that, let me just read one last question from Mario and we'll end it right here. Yes, but they need at least 7 months time skip, Rick being taken, and we need count also Althea interviewing Rick and then coming back to Alexandria. Seems sketchy. Althea's not going to go to the movies. Althea's going to somehow appear in The Walking Dead first, and her and Michonne are both going to go to the movies. That was my prediction. There could be some issues with that. I do agree with that, or I do see that. But that's the closest thing that could happen for it to make sense for Michonne to leave. And for everything to kind of connect. But yes, that's basically it for this live stream Q&A. Thanks everyone. I'll see you guys soon. Tonight, we will have our reaction to Fear the Walking Dead. I'll post that after the episode, so stay tuned for that. And I'll do my episode breakdown for the next episode trailer of Fear the Walking Dead. Season 5 episode, would it be like 7? Yeah, episode 7, I think. But yeah, I think it's episode 7. Let me just double check. Yeah, so episode 5 was the last one. This would be episode 6. The next one's going to be episode 7. They'll lead up to the mid-season finale. But yeah, that's it, everyone. I'll see you guys soon.